There is a moment in history when fear replaces diplomacy, when a rising power looks at the world and says, "This system was not built for me." And the ruling power looks back and says, "Then you must be stopped." That moment has arrived, not with missiles, but with supply chains, microchips, and silence. What you are witnessing between the United States and China is not a disagreement. It is a historical collision, and history has never been kind to empires at this stage. Empires do not collapse everywhere at once. They fracture at pressure points, places where fear, ambition, and history collide. These are not random locations. They are symbols, lines that once felt distant but now feel uncomfortably close. In the struggle between the United States and China, 3 flashpoints define the conflict. Not because they guarantee war, but because they make restraint fragile. They represent something deeper than territory: identity, control, survival. Taiwan. For China, Taiwan is not foreign land. It is unfinished history. A civil war paused, not resolved. A chapter that never reached its ending. As China grew stronger and more confident, patience began to feel like weakness. Reunification shifted from policy to destiny. Military drills in the Taiwan Strait are not routine exercises. They are rehearsals, signals that force remains an option. Across the water, Taiwan does not see itself as a bargaining chip. It sees itself as a society that evolved separately. Every election widens that distance. The United States responds carefully. Weapons without guarantees, statements without commitments. This silence is deliberate, designed to slow momentum, not stop it. History offers a warning here. Empires tolerate loss. They tolerate delay. They tolerate embarrassment. What they do not tolerate is incompletion. When identity fuses with unresolved history, patience erodes. And when patience disappears, accidents become decisions. The South China Sea. At first glance, it looks empty, but beneath the surface lies one of the most valuable corridors on Earth. Trillions in trade, energy routes, strategic depth. China claims it steadily, island by island, runway by runway. The strategy is quiet, incremental, designed to avoid dramatic response. The United States challenges these claims with presence, not speeches. Warships sail through contested waters. No shots are fired, no retreat declared. Power is measured in patience. Each close encounter inches the system closer to failure. This is the most dangerous kind of confrontation, one where both sides believe they are acting defensively. When no one believes they've crossed a line, lines stop existing, and escalation begins to feel inevitable. Technology and artificial intelligence. This is the battlefield that matters most. Not land, not seas, but intelligence itself. Advanced chips shape economies today and weapons tomorrow. Whoever leads in artificial intelligence doesn't just gain advantage, they redefine power. When the United States restricts access to advanced chips, it isn't protecting markets, it is protecting time. But history is unforgiving. Every barrier accelerates self-sufficiency. Every restriction hardens resolve. When survival depends on technology, cooperation vanishes. Competition becomes permanent. Empires rarely realize they are in a race until losing feels irreversible. Empires do not fight only with armies. They fight with markets, with rules, with access. And when trade becomes a weapon, the damage spreads far beyond borders. For decades, the global economy was built on a simple belief that interdependence would create stability, that nations too connected to fight would choose cooperation over conflict. History tells a different story. Interdependence does not remove power, it concentrates on it. And today, The economic relationship between the United States and China has become the most powerful battlefield on Earth. Tariff escalation. Tariffs were once defensive tools, temporary shields for domestic industries. Now they are instruments of pressure. In 2025, tariff rates surged to historic levels, then eased only slightly, not because disputes were resolved, but because pain had been measured. This was not chaos, it was calibration. Tariffs now serve a new purpose: to test resilience, to measure dependency, to see who can absorb economic shock longer. Consumers feel the cost, businesses adjust, markets adapt, but the message is unmistakable. Trade is no longer neutral ground. It is a battlefield where endurance matters more than efficiency. History shows that when economics becomes strategy, growth slows, trust collapses, and retaliation becomes inevitable. Strategic minerals, rare earth elements. Modern power does not run on oil alone. It runs on materials few people can name, but no modern economy can function without. Electric vehicles, wind turbines, precision-guided weapons, satellites. China dominates the refining of these critical minerals. This dominance was not accidental. It was built patiently over decades, while others focused on cheaper supply. Today, that patience has become leverage. When export restrictions are delayed or softened, it is not a compromise, it is controlled. Because true power lies not in denial, but in the knowledge that denial remains possible. History is clear on this point. Empires that control choke points do not rush to close them. They wait until alternatives disappear. And once dependence hardens, negotiation becomes an illusion. Decoupling and de-risking. Corporations once chased efficiency at all costs: lowest wages, fastest logistics, maximum profit. That era is ending. Factories are moving, supply chains are fragmenting, capital is becoming cautious, not because globalization failed, but because it became dangerous. Companies now plan for disruption as a permanent condition: detentions, sanctions, political retaliation. Economic decisions are no longer made in boardrooms alone. They are shaped by governments, intelligence briefings, and strategic forecasts. History shows what happens next. When global trade divides into rival blocs, neutral ground disappears. Markets harden into spheres of influence. Efficiency is sacrificed for security. And once trade lines align with political lines, conflict becomes structural. The illusion of economic truce. At moments, tensions ease, trade talks resume, purchases restart, temporary pauses are announced, but these are not resolutions, they are timeouts. History warns us about this phase. Stabilization without trust does not reduce risk, it postpones it. Each pause allows systems to prepare. Each delay hardens assumptions. Each compromise reinforces the belief that the conflict is permanent. Empires rarely retreat from economic warfare once it begins, because stepping back signals weakness, and weakness invites pressure. Why the economic battle matters. This conflict is not about tariffs or minerals. It is about control over the arteries of modern civilization. Who sets the rules of trade? Who controls the bottlenecks? Who decides access? History shows that when economic systems fracture, political systems follow. And when economic weapons replace diplomacy, war no longer needs an announcement. It simply emerges from the structure itself. The economic battle is not a prelude to conflict. It is the conflict. This conflict is not just about power. It is about legitimacy. Every empire must answer a simple question: why should the world accept our leadership? When that answer weakens, power begins to hollow from the inside. Governance. At the heart of the divide between the United States and China is a fundamental disagreement about how societies should be run. One system promises freedom, open debate, individual rights, the belief that disorder is the price of liberty. The other promises stability, continuity, long-term planning, the belief that control prevents collapse. Each sees the other as fragile. From Beijing's perspective, too much freedom leads to paralysis, endless debate, political chaos, and declining authority. From Washington's perspective, too much control leads to stagnation. Innovation slows, dissent disappears, and mistakes compound unseen. Both systems fear something deeper than each other. They fear failing their own people. History is unforgiving on this point. Systems do not collapse because they are cruel or corrupt. They collapse when they can no longer deliver what they promise, when freedom feels chaotic, when stability feels suffocating. At that moment, legitimacy cracks, and power soon follows. The current global system emerged after World War II. China did not design it, but it mastered it. Now it seeks something different, not global revolution, but regional dominance. Rising powers rarely destroy systems overnight. They make them irrelevant. This clash of worldviews makes compromise fragile because neither side believes the other system can survive the future. That belief hardens positions. It turns cooperation into suspicion and competition into destiny. History suggests that when legitimacy is contested, power alone is never enough to settle the question. Something always breaks first.
At first glance, the conflict appears calmer. Meetings resume, statements soften, trade flows restart. But history warns us. Calm at this stage is not peace. It is tension held in place. A fragile stabilization. By late 2025, relations between the United States and China entered what diplomats quietly call a stabilization phase. Trade talks reopened, temporary pauses on new restrictions were announced, symbolic cooperation returned, agricultural purchases, limited coordination, narrow agreements. These moves created the appearance of control, but none of the core disputes were resolved. Technology restrictions remained, military postures hardened, economic trust did not return. History shows that stabilization without resolution does not remove danger, it postpones it. Empires often mistake delay for progress and pay for that mistake later. Military pressure at its peak. While economic tensions paused, military activity did not. Naval patrols intensified, aircraft interceptions increased, exercises grew larger, faster, closer. Not because either side seeks war, but because both fear being unprepared. This is the most dangerous moment in any rivalry, not open hostility, but constant readiness. History teaches that wars rarely begin with intent, they begin with miscalculation. A radar misread, a maneuver too close, a decision made in seconds under pressure built for years. When trust disappears, every move feels threatening, and restraint begins to look like weakness. The illusion of control. Both powers believe they are managing the situation. They believe escalation can be controlled, that economic pressure can be calibrated, that military signaling will remain symbolic. History has never been kind to that belief. Empires collapse not when they lose control entirely, but when they overestimate how much control they still have. Today, the global system depends on two rivals who no longer trust each other, but remain deeply connected. That combination has never been stable for long. Why this moment matters. This phase will not last forever. Either tensions ease through genuine compromise, or pressure builds until a single incident breaks the balance. History suggests the second outcome is more common, not because leaders want disaster, but because systems under strain drift toward it. The conflict today is not frozen, it is waiting, and history has a habit of moving suddenly when everyone believes there is still time.
Every empire believes it is managing the moment. Rome thought it could borrow forever. Britain thought control could outlast cost. They did not collapse from invasion. They collapsed when the systems they depended on turned against them. Today, the world's two most powerful nations are bound together by trade they no longer trust, technology they fear losing control of, and militaries operating closer than ever before. No one wants a war, and that is exactly why the danger is so high. Because history shows us something unsettling. Empires rarely choose collapse. They drift into it, one miscalculation at a time. Every empire believes it will be the exception. History has never agreed. If you want to understand the rise and fall of modern empires, subscribe to Decode Empires, because the next collapse won't be announced. It will simply arrive.